All right, sounds good, baby. And we should be on in 5, 4. Actually, now probably everyone heard us being all flirty over there. All right. Yes, I think everyone heard that. But that's cool. That is cool. Y'all know what I'm about. Getting a little pre-show in. And it's kind of short notice, guys. It's just some people have been asking me about it. So I said, all right, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and stream it. So let's stream those yards. Get more beer. Sihano, what's up? What's good? We got James, we got Ann, we got Sihano in the chat here. Who else is here? We got James Presley in the chat too, coming through. Oh man, all right. Okay, so we're getting started. We are getting started. Doing a little bit of pre-show goodness over here. So, oh, and Robbie made it in. Ryan made it in. Jeremy made it in. Waste Not Want Up. What's up? What's up? Mo in the house. Pop up in the place. There we go. Basically, pop-up's basically right on that one. Shows, nightclubs, all the good stuff. With caveats. So, we're going to go ahead and see what happens there. We're going to see what happens. There are indeed a couple clubs that are open. And some of the bars too, but it'll be interesting. Alright guys, so my Spinners and Sharks, it's Ace of Vegas, and of course, I hope you're doing well here. So, once again, thank you all so much. Am I still on? Did I click anything? Yes, I'm looking pretty good. Am I looking pretty good here? Yeah, my stream health is good. Okay, we are live. Yeah, sorry about that. Thought I saw a little hiccup here. But yeah, so I'm not sure if you guys saw it on Monday, but Governor Steve Sisolak actually he actually made a speech on Monday. So I'm not sure if you guys saw it here, because we're a tourist community for the most part. So I'm sure you guys don't keep up with all the usual Nevada legislature. So he had a special assembly and did a speech there about the COVID response unit. And monetization be damned, I'm just going to say COVID instead of the CV or whatever. It is what it is. That's what it's called. I'm not here to spread misinformation. And now we're going to go ahead and discuss a few things. But a couple caveats before we begin. So last time the stream got a little wild in the comments section. I know it wasn't you guys. I can account for literally everybody here in the chat. Everyone here in the chat is definitely civil. Everyone here in the chat is definitely, very thoughtful. They may not necessarily agree with what anyone else says, but they're very respectful about their right to say it, and they'll disagree respectfully. That was good. There were a lot of new people that kind of streamed in just because they saw Governor Sisolak was speaking, and I had the stream up. Now, obviously, a lot of those people did join our community here, so welcome to them. And a lot of folks were just kind of there to spew hate in the comments about about the politician, which I don't care. Politicians, they're in the public eye. They know what they have coming. It's coming to them, whatever. And I haven't met a good politician yet. I can't say that there's a politician that hasn't had it coming when it comes down to getting criticism and even getting some hate. It happens. Now, that said, it got a little out of hand in the comments because people started attacking each other there. That's unacceptable. I know that's not a proper business term to use, but it is unacceptable because everyone here has a right to their opinion. They do have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, so on and so forth. And I don't want to foster a community where people come here to attack each other, even if you disagree. So I know my Spinners and Sharks are not all about that, as Hogan 2 Cents says, we're degenerates, but, we're not bad people. It's two different things. Hey, we will gamble down to a penny or whatever, but, we're not here to attack people. So I'm going to ask that everybody in the chat and in the comment section remember that. So thank you all so much in advance for doing that. Singing the Ace of Vegas theme song. See, there you go. Everyone's just goofing. We're all having a good time here. Got a little bit of irony, a little bit of sarcasm in the chat. That's the type of stuff I like to see. You guys are my people. You guys are all my people. This is what I love about it. Okay, so just a couple quick facts before we get into the analysis of the stream. So, regarding the coronavirus, regarding COVID-19, here are some facts. I got these particular facts from the Reno Gazette-Journal, which, from what I understand, they got their information from the CDC and from Washoe County, so on and so forth. So the facts that they've cited here are Nevada cases are up to 53,000 cases of COVID-19 in Nevada. There have been fewer tests performed as of when they posted this article. That was approximately 6 a.m. this morning. A sum total of approximately 890 people have passed away due to COVID, according to their report. So those are the facts there. Now, another fact that I got from the Nevada Independent is actually about the joblessness rate. Joblessness, as of mid-July, this article was published July 15th, was down to approximately 15%. And there had been over 287,000 jobs lost since the pandemic started, and approximately 44% of those jobs have been recovered. So that's an improvement too. Fact number 3, tourism has suffered as a result of this. In May alone, the visitor volume was down 96%. Why? Because there was nothing open. There's no reason to visit Vegas if no one's allowed to travel and if there's nowhere to travel to. All the casinos were closed in May. That's a fact. And visitor volume was down in May. That's a fact. It was up before the lockdown. I believe in January it was up about 3.5%, and in February it was up something like 4.7%. So prior to the lockdown, numbers in Vegas were up. Make of that what you will. These are just black and white objective facts. You are allowed to do whatever you want with those. I just ask that you don't twist them. But again, this is my audience. This is part of my community. I say it after every live stream that I have the best community on YouTube, bar none. And I definitely agree with that. So, good stuff. Now that we're back in. Hey Muffy, hey Jen, good to see you guys. Comp Sky coming through, Pop-Up Fishing coming through. Yeah, we got all the regulars. Got 27, 28 of us in the live chat now. Let's go ahead and address a few things. So let's go ahead and go down and talk about my man, as Kino Kid would call him, Spicy Steve Sisolak. So old man Sisolak, he got a little spicy on his live stream over here, and we're gonna go ahead and discuss that right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what Governor Spicy Steve Sisolak, or as I like to call him, Old Man Sisolak, because he acts like the old principal in the high school. This is kind of what he does. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into his concerns here. So, Governor Sisolak, everyone.
This is a natural evolution in the state's response, and one that recognizes a need for deliberate and predictable response for the protracted crisis of a global pandemic.
Okay, so right now he's going to go ahead and go into his opening statement. That was kind of his cold open right there, being a Chippendale. Back to the little circle in Fremont. yeah, Bob, I'm sorry, man. It's going to be another month of practice before you get to do some dancing again. We'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and talk about the balance of healthy citizens and a healthy economy here. This is what he's going to do. And he's going to be talking for a little while, so we'll go ahead and get through this clip as quick as we can.
At the beginning of this pandemic response, we took bold moves to flatten the curve by issuing broad-based stay-at-home orders and closures, and it worked. Because outside of a vaccine, we know that decreasing interactions and mobility is a successful measure to mitigate the spread. However, shutting down public and economic activity throughout the state is not sustainable in the long term. Hundreds of thousands of Nevadans lost their jobs. Businesses suffered, and our fragile economy took a massive hit, leading to negative impacts felt from the state's budget all the way down to household budgets throughout Nevada. This new approach will ensure the state, in coordination with each county, can assess all the data and make timely decisions to address identified risk areas and take swift and appropriate action. In a moment, Caleb will walk through the details of this new strategy, the mitigation plan, but here's a quick summary every week. Using data, the state will update the 3 elevated disease transmission criteria for each county.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna finish here. He said using data. As if there's another way to do these sorts of things. All right, I'm sorry. I'm good. Anyway.
The COVID-19 response task force will then be able to review the criteria and see which counties are experiencing a decrease in risk or an increase, meaning a county met 2 or more of these criteria for 2 or more consecutive weeks. If a county is determined to have an increased risk based on the data, they will enter an assessment and review process with the state task force that could result in changing the county's mitigation effort. During the assessment, the task force and county will review all available data and statewide critical metrics to determine the root cause of the spread and ultimately come up with an action plan to address it, which could lead to targeted measures such as increased enforcement, decrease in gathering sizes, decrease in fire code capacity for certain businesses, and more. As I mentioned, the task force will not only be looking at the data, but also other critical areas that will help determine why a county might be experiencing an increase in risk level. They will include the following: hospital capacity, access to personal protective equipment, or PPE, testing capacity, case investigation and contact tracing, protection of vulnerable populations, and enforcement actions. It's through this review process that the county and state will be able to determine the most effective targeted approach to take to mitigate the spread in that area. For example, if the assessment determines that an increase in positives in a county are all stemming from a skilled nursing facility, then it wouldn't make sense to close down indoor dining. The plan should be focused on stopping the spread at those nursing facilities where it is occurring. In the case that there is not enough data or information needed to make a targeted approach for the county, or if a county is not collaborating with the state in a productive manner, the state will not hesitate to implement mitigation measures in accepted high-risk settings. But I remain hopeful for broad collaboration with this new approach.
Okay. So he's gonna talk about bars here in a second, but basically, he took a long time to say that. He was just babbling for like 4 minutes about it. But basically what he's trying to say is that there was no real good way to do any of this. And it's like what we were discussing before the stream started. We've got a sizable amount of cases of coronavirus. That's a fact. That's an objective fact. There is human loss of life around this virus. That's another objective fact. There are jobs being lost, there are livelihoods being destroyed as a result of this virus and the aforementioned shutdowns. That's a fact. It's getting better, but that's still tens of hundreds of thousands of people that are currently out of work. And maybe more because these visitor volume levels are still suffering. We haven't gotten the June numbers back, but the May numbers are looking really harsh, and so are the ones in April. That was the apex of the shutdown. Those are all facts. So what he's saying isn't inaccurate. Stuff's looking a little bad right now as far as numbers go, and there's no good way to go about things. So what he's also saying is he wants to take a more targeted approach. He's going to back up on the whole phases thing. That's what we talked about last Monday, and he's still sticking with that. Not so down with the phases anymore. So that's another thing. Now, unfortunately, he's not saying that we're down to open anything quite yet. I think there was a question that Javier had in the live chat here. Javier was asking when are the shows coming back? I don't think anytime soon. Based on his speech here, he's going to try and assess things at a one-to-one level. Gatherings are still around 50. It's a little strange. Ryan, yes, we're going to address the nursing homes thing too. I think I actually have a clip about the nursing home bit in here too. It's so pertinent to tourism. I cut out a lot of stuff. Like one of the things I think I cut out of the stream, it's like a it's like a 40-minute stream, and I cut out quite a bit of it. I think it was about the schools and a couple other things and the voting and all that. But that's really more for Nevada residences. So, yeah. So bars with tabletop games still not quite back yet, Tyler. Actually, we're going to talk about that very shortly. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and one more thing. He mentioned a guy called Caleb. That's Caleb Cage. He's the COVID response director of Nevada. So he's like the head player in charge of the COVID response team. That same COVID response that our old Uncle Jim Murin happens to be a big member of, and I'm sure is repping the casinos on that. So just saying. Shout out to Gambling Granny for popping in. Much love to my boy Dice if he did not make it in here too. Just FYI GG. So want to let you know that. But yeah, he's trying to have, counties make action plans and all that. No, Caleb Cage, actually. Caleb Cage should pop up. Good. We're close. You're close. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, though, let's go ahead and talk about what Governor Sisolak has to say about bars. Let's hear him out first, and then we'll analyze that a little more. Governor Sisolak, if you please, on bars.
In no way are we relaxing our mitigation efforts. We're taking a more strategic, aggressive approach that will target this disease where it is spreading and take action necessary to stop it. And until the first assessment takes place and action plans are finalized between the counties and the task force, the current restrictions for bars, pubs, and taverns will remain in place for the 4 counties previously identified as meeting increased transmission risk criteria. Just as before, this plan or any other will not work if we do not have full participation from all Nevadans. Every county, municipality, business, employee, neighbor, and family. If Nevadans continue to wear their face coverings, as we're all mandated to do, along with practicing aggressive social distancing, this targeted approach should work. It will allow more sectors of our economy to remain open. If Nevadans begin to relax their efforts and take this less seriously, this target approach will not work and will lead our state backwards, which could ultimately lead once again to broad-based closures and limitations. I don't want that, and neither do you. We can both mitigate the spread and avoid harming businesses that are doing their part, but only if we all commit to doing what our part is. I implore you to remain as vigilant as ever. Make no mistake, Nevada, we're in a very precarious position. I promise you, I will give you all I have, my energy, resources, my focus, and my best efforts to continue to walk this tightrope between your personal help and your financial stability. But to get this done, I need you to give me all you have, too. Thank you, and I would now be happy to take some questions.
Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and break that down a little bit. So before the governor came back in, Caleb Cage, the COVID response director, he explained the targeted shutdown, if the shutdowns occur. Basically, he's trying to focus on keeping people healthy without eviscerating the economy. And they're trying to check the testing, the case percentage, and the positivity percentage of the tests. Every 2 weeks, there's an estimated 7-day lag in there sometime, and then they're trying to create action plans. Now, the counties themselves will be making the action plans, including Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is. That's what's important to us. So, based on that, Clark County themselves has to come up with a good reason to open something like a bar or a club or what have you, and then present that back to the governor, who's going to have to present that back to the president or what have you. I don't know how the whole thing works. I'm not a political science major, I'm not a politician, and, if you guys ever catch me running for politics, go upside the head. Just give me a good smack right there. Straighten me out. So just FYI. So that's what their plan is, and obviously the governor was talking about as far as bars go, Wasco and Clark County, they're still closed as of right now. They're going to try and reevaluate it within the next week or so and see if they can reopen them. And they're supposed to be looking at, they're supposed to be looking at a good plan. So right now, Clark County has to find a way to reopen their bars, and it's on them. The ball is in their court. Now, someone mentioned in the live chat, Ryu Gaming, the signer isn't wearing a mask. Now, I'm not a master of American Sign Language. I have been learning a lot. I have a coworker that is deaf, and that coworker has been teaching me some American Sign Language, and evidently lip reading actually comes into it quite a bit too. So if you're doing something like right, you want to sign right there. So with a mask like this, let's say, for example, we have this wonderful Hagen 2-cent mask that's available in their Redbubble store. Just saying, if any of my mods have a link to the Redbubble store for Hagen 2-cent, you can get one of those too, so you can wear your face coverings and do all that good stuff when you visit Vegas. Highly recommended. I've had this one for a hot minute too. That's been good stuff. Anyway, though, I think I have one somewhere around here too, but, who cares? Anyway. But no, for American Sign Language, lip reading is a big part of it, so that's why the signers often don't have masks during these press conferences, because it's essential to communicate to the deaf community as well. So that's something that comes up, and they're usually pretty well socially distanced, I find, so that's helpful. Anyway, though, that's his main plan there. Now, the rest of the press conference goes into some very important stuff, but it's more important for Nevada residents. Let's say, the schools. They're discussing voting. They're discussing the schools. If you're a tourist, most of the stuff isn't our business. How they want to vote is how they want to vote, as long as they get out there and vote. I mean, voting isn't every American's business if you're an American citizen. It's your civic duty. That's what I've been taught all my life. It's your civic duty. So I'm going to go ahead and keep spouting that rhetoric, because that's what it is. That's what all my professors kept drilling into my head all the way through college. You got to vote. If you win, you get your change. If you lose, complain till you're blue in the face. Complain till you're blue in the face. Get angry about it. Absolutely. I complain all the time. I've lost all my elections for the last 20 years. Last 20 years, I've lost every election. I've only been eligible to vote for the last 12 years. Every election I've wanted, I've lost. So I'm a career complainer. But yeah, rock that First Amendment right. Just make sure, hey, vote for it. Earn that First Amendment right. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Flex your freedom of religion. Flex your freedom of speech there. I think it's a great thing. Okay, so Golden State wants to talk about the casinos. Let's go ahead and get into that. That's going to be the very end of it. Oh, and my girl Gwen Lewis coming through. Hey, Gwen, good to see you. Sorry, I did not make the stream at 8. That's my bad. I know you really wanted to see if we could push this back a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'll do a poll tomorrow and see what the best time is for streams for everybody and all that. As you guys know, I leave these live streams up just so people can catch up, because we have people in the UK, we have people in Australia, we have folks on the East Coast, the West Coast, all over the world. So I leave the streams up so everyone can catch the replay on the offhanded chance that they aren't awake when I'm awake. It happens. Or they're not available, because God forbid you guys go to work or whatever. Or if you have children, you have to take care of your children. Or, you're going to school. If you're studying, study, go to school, take care of your family, go to work, do all that stuff. I will never delete a live stream. As long as it's not a harmful thing, I will not delete a live stream. So don't be afraid to miss a stream. I will leave it up. It's a lot more fun to be on the live chat. I'll say that much, but don't be afraid to miss a stream. It's okay. All right, so what were we going to talk about next? I think next, how are you going to know what's open and what's not open? So this does pertain to us. So let's go ahead and hear about what the governor has to say about that. Governor Sisolak, if you please, take it away, sir.
So how do you ensure this targeted approach, business by business or county by county, doesn't confuse Nevadans either visiting businesses or counties or business owners?
Right. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, so this is Caleb Cage, the guy I was telling you about. He is the COVID response director. He is the head player in charge of anything COVID related. So this is the guy in the kind of off, like the slate blue suit or whatever. I don't know what color it is. Someone in the live chat tell me what color that is, or in the comment section. I don't care where it comes from. Just let me know what that color is. Oh, we got Nick in the chat. Nick, you made it just in time. We're going to find out what's open and what's not, brother. Let's go.
Thank you for the question, Sam. Just to make sure I have it correctly, how do we make sure that this is clear enough for implementation and that it's easy on the user end, user-friendly for local businesses? This is actually, I think, a step in the direction of helping to do exactly that, to clarify. Our county partners are great partners. They're great advocates. They know the businesses in their communities. They know the business owners very often. And in our smaller communities or counties in particular, they're neighbors and their kids go to school together and all of those things. And so this approach allows us to work collaboratively with the counties to make sure that they are identifying what they see as the root cause of community spread or outbreaks within their communities and identifying ways to address those. And so many of the counties that would come to us with their plans and their self-assessments would be able to say, this is what we would recommend, and if it's approved and we would find ways of supporting it, they would have various mechanisms for putting that information out to the public like they would with anything else. And we would be happy to support them with the public information piece as well. But I think that the governor's intent here has been to make it predictable and to make it as steady as possible going forward. And I believe we achieve that with this strategy to a large degree.
Okay. Also, here's an interesting thing I hadn't noticed. I didn't notice that they had two different sign language interpreters there. I thought that was really fascinating. I have no idea why that is. Don't ask me why that is. I really don't know. But they just both have their own sign language interpreter, and I thought that was just kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe someone that's deaf might understand, why they have two different interpreters. Maybe it's just a resource thing. Maybe it's just easier to do it that way, but no idea. Anyway. Now, as far as what he said there, the abridged version of it, and that's this problem I have with these streams. I mean, I know I'm a little long-winded sometimes, but that was long-winded. The easy way to explain what he tried to say there was that they are going to be individually checking on businesses on a case-by-case basis. If they find that one business is not doing a good job, another one, they're going to shut them down. If it's a lot of businesses, they're going to hit the county, and it's going to go level by level. Each business has to address the county. Each county has to address the state. The state's going to go from there and say, okay, we can do this or we cannot do this. Now, as far as the information goes, they said that they're supposed to be pushing out the information. The state's going to help them. They didn't specify the channels. I can only assume it's going to be online announcements, maybe through social media. I don't know, but they weren't specific on how they're going to get the information on what's open and what's not open out there. My best recommendation to those of you visiting Vegas or planning to visit Vegas, let's get to the official website. If you can get to an official website or an official Facebook page or anything like that, that I think is going to be your best bet. Unless there's something maybe on the tourism board. That's about it. Otherwise, I have no idea what their real plan is there, because he didn't really say much. Maybe I missed it, but did you guys get like a specific avenue of information that he mentioned? That was a super political answer, and I'm not sure if I dug that really. But hey, that's the governor for you. That's the task force for you. That's politicians for you. What have you? Anyway, though, let's go ahead and let's get into the casinos now. Now, you guys wanted to talk about casinos and bars and clubs and all that. So let's see what's going to keep them open if they're allowed to stay open with these restrictions in place. So let's see what happens here. All right, Governor Sisolak, please take it away once again, sir.
Could you talk about those business liability protections, your position on that, and also give us a sense of what your attitude is about? Does the Dieter bill go far enough at this point? What else needs to be done there?
Okay, I'll start with the Dieter bill. The Dieter bill begins a process. You are going to see some more information coming out from our office later this week about some change in Dieter and some folks that we're bringing in to help us with this. And I'm excited about the opportunity. We've spent a lot of time dealing with this. It's extremely important to me that people who are entitled to the money get the money as quickly as possible. With that being said, you've seen some of the reports about the fraud that's going on. Today, someone was indicted for having, 21 IDs that they've used and unknown number of debit cards that were sent to them to use for this. So we're going to do everything we can. And this bill is going to give us more flexibility. It's also going to increase
the length of time that people are eligible for benefits. As it relates to the business liability bill, this was a bill that a lot of effort went into. It's extremely important to me. We just got out of our first special session where we dealt with a $1.2 billion shortfall, which is massive. Our unemployment rate is at an all-time high. Our jobless rate is just something that's scary to me. I've got people wanting to go back to work. We've got unemployment problems. We've got revenue problems, and I need to do everything I can as governor to protect the safety of the workers that are working in the hospitality industry in particular, that are helping us to lead this comeback, resurgence in our economy, to get people coming back to Las Vegas. At the same time, I need to protect these jobs. I mean, these companies are operating on a very fragile situation right now. You've seen their earnings. I've talked to the executives and the company principals to deal with the situation. They're in a precarious financial situation. I need to do everything I can to make sure that those jobs are available for Nevadans as we work through this. And the other thing about this bill that's extremely important, I'm here, you've been here a dozen times and heard me asking businesses to please practice, make sure people are wearing masks, make sure you're doing the best in terms of disinfectant and hygiene and so forth. Make sure that there's social distancing in your establishment. Well, this liability waiver, this immunity only exists if the businesses are practicing the best methodology.
Okay, so here's the abridged version of that. He's a little freaked out about the fact that there aren't a lot of tax dollars coming in. A lot of tax dollars come from, frankly, the casinos, from tourism, because there isn't a state tax in Nevada. There isn't, because the casinos pay so much money in income taxes and all that, because they have so much money coming in. So they support the state in state taxes. They said that they had a deficit of $1.2 billion, which I can't even fathom, except for there's no money coming in. So there you go. So that's the big thing there. So Sisolak, because, hey, a state needs a budget. That's the way capitalism works. He wants to keep the places open. He wants people working. Now, obviously, a lot of people aren't working because there isn't a lot of tourism right now. It's rough. We talked about it. Tourism's down. Unemployment is still pretty high. I mean, even if it is still at 15% from July, that's really high. That's like if you know 20 people, 3 of them are out of a job. Straight up. Out of every 20 people, 3 people are out of a job. You throw 20 rocks into a crowd of 20, and 3 of those people are gonna get hurt, and they're hurting real bad. And they may be the sole breadwinner for their family. Who knows? So he's really hyped about doing that. And he's got these protections in there. So this is kind of part of, will the casinos shut down? As long as they're practicing as long as they're practicing everything properly, they're supposed to be protected by this liability waiver, which means if they're following, basically means if they're following the state mandated, CDC mandated protocols, if there is something that happens, then hell of a time with the Wi-Fi. Oh, Seeking Vegas. Just in time. We were talking about if the casinos are going to shut down or not. This is going to be the big spicy thing that we're going to talk about. So basically businesses, the casinos especially, but other businesses too, if they're following all the rules and they're following all the regulations, they're in less danger because they have a liability waiver too. If they're doing everything they can to protect somebody, they're following social distancing, they're offering the face masks, they're requiring face masks, they're offering sanitizer and things like that too. If they are not... so if something happens there, someone's not trying to comply, they kick them out, and that person comes back with COVID or something along those lines, and that liability waiver is supposed to protect those businesses and keep them from shutting down. That's the gist of it. I listened to part of the special assembly. I fell asleep in it because the public speakers in there are just so terrible. It is physically difficult to watch. But that's the general gist of it. So that lowers the probability of the casinos shutting down. Nick will tell you this, Creeper Nick in the chat, and actually Vegas Best Ideas too. They were out there with me too, Tamara in the chat. They will both tell you that Cosmo especially, they were like super hyped about the masks. And obviously, you guys know you can get your Hog and 2 cent masks too. get those from Redbubble. Obviously, they're an amazing channel. Check them out. You can get your masks. Your Ace of Vegas mask, if you're interested in that. I finally launched my merch store, so I've got that open. Look at me on the Governor. I'm doing I'm wearing a mask too and addressing the people. So it's good stuff. That's what I'm doing. Still smells a little smoky from the barbecue on Saturday. But yeah. So rock your face mask. That's going to be the biggest thing, especially for these casino employees. They're if they're on you about it, it's just their job. Their company's not trying to get shut down. They're not trying to get fired. They're just like, hey, put on your mask. That's the requirement. We have to stay open. I have to keep a job. I got to feed my family. So, if you have a problem with the masks, like them or hate them, if you got a problem with it, don't take it out on the casino employees. They're literally just doing their job. All right. So moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the casinos. This is what everybody's here for. Are they in danger of shutting down? Here we go. Governor Sisolak.
There are some people that say they don't think you would ever shut down the casinos again because of their importance to our economy. What do you say to those people?
I say to those people that I'm encouraging every business to do whatever they can to help us beat this pandemic. The gaming industry has been responsible, to most part, in dealing with that. This business liability protection is going to give them some security, knowing that they won't be subjected to frivolous lawsuits and to a plethora of lawsuits coming forward when they're doing the best that they possibly can. I will do whatever I can, whatever needs to be done to protect the health and safety of the citizens of the state of Nevada, the workers on the Strip in particular you're asking about, and protect those jobs. At the same time, I want to make sure that everybody does their part, and you can do that by practicing the guidelines we put forward, wearing a mask, social distancing, and avoiding large groups.
When you talked about mass shutdowns, are casinos still on the table going forward?
I think you've seen that, and I'm not going to say a quote that's going to get...
Okay, so hold up, guys. Just to slow you guys down. All right, so I'm going to slow this down a little bit. So this is the last of it. Now, here's where old man Sisolak becomes spicy. Steve Sisolak. He gets heated at this point. Get ready for this shit, because he's going to get pissed here in a minute. Game on. Let's go.
Taken out of context, not that you would do that, but all of our options remain open. If we identify that is a major problem, that's where the infections are coming from, we would obviously have to take appropriate action. But what we do first is see, is it the casino, or is it the pools at the casino? Is it the restaurants at the casinos? Is it the gaming tables at the casino? Is it the common areas at the casinos? We don't know. I mean, right now we're not having a major problem with any of those in particular. It's just an abundance of things. The biggest area that we've got issues with that are really hard to control, to be very candid with you, and I've been on numerous governors' calls, is family gatherings. I mean, when you get 8, 10, 12 people from a family together and somebody comes and is infected or brings it to their family members, it's just something that's devastating. An entire family is then affected as a result of that one individual. The other thing that happens, and I want to stress this emphatically, people that are going to work when they know that they're sick or that they know that they tested positive and they're infecting other people is shameful. It's selfish. It's something that has to stop. If you're sick, stay home. I mean, that's pretty common sense. I mean, but people aren't even doing that. We need to do much more to protect ourselves, but more so to protect everyone else, to protect your loved ones and make sure that we can beat this disease. And if you're not feeling well, stay home. And if you are feeling well and you go to work, please practice the social guidelines that we put in place. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, then he just kind of storms off after that. It's actually really remarkable to watch. But no, he just gets angry and really kind of storms off after that. It was fascinating. Not even lying about that. Like, check out I think it was Fox 5. They had the whole thing on their Facebook. It was nuts. But no, he was getting spicy AF. Let me tell you. Old man Sisolak was spicy. Okay. Let me get back in the middle over here. That's not what I wanted to do. How does my webcam work? Webcam, how does work? How does webcam work? No one knows. Is that roughly the right size? I don't know. I might be a little wide. This is wide ace. This is a regular ace. Okay. This is happening. Alright, spinners and sharks. So, let's talk about this. how do you guys feel about Governor Sisolak and his recommendations here? Now, let's not attack each other in the chat. Let's not attack each other in the comment section. Everyone's got some valid opinions, right, wrong. Everyone's got everyone's got a right to an opinion, okay? Everyone has a right to free speech, okay? Everyone has a right to their political beliefs. We're not here to attack each other. Now, politicians, I'll let you attack a politician all day. They have it coming. There's not a single politician out there that isn't crooked, as far as I'm concerned. So, beat up Governor Sisolak all you want, I mean, let's not do anything like racist or homophobic or anything like that. Let's keep it on his policies. So beat him up over his policies for sure. And he's a politician, so he's fair game. But let's be good to each other. Let's be excellent to each other, as Bill and Ted would say. So, okay, I will take all questions in the live chat over here. Also gonna remind you that my Teespring is finally up if you want an Ace of Vegas mask. And let me pull up the Hagen 2 cent Redbubble. Let me pull that up, because they have some great masks too. I know, actually, Nick, do you have masks on your site as well? Because I have lots of great vloggers in the chat over here. We have lots of wonderful people, and so if you want to show your love and show your support for a lot of here, hang on, Hog and 2 cent, here it is. Let me pull them up real quick, because I have a Hog and 2 cent mask, and the Redbubble one is also very attractive and very and actually very comfortable too. So I'll put both of those in the chat here if you guys want to check them both out. I'm not sure it's Nick on Sin City Nerds to upload. What's up, Nick? How you doing, bro? Long time no talk. All right. So let's go ahead and go into the live chat. But those are the, if you guys are interested in some masks, if you're going to Vegas and you need a mask, go check it out. A lot of the places are providing it, but check these things out. Hold up. Like, look at how freaking fashionable these are, and look at how comfortable these are. I wear these to work all the time. It's good stuff. So, little Hagen 2 cent over here, little Ace of Vegas over here. It doesn't even have to be an Ace of Vegas mask. I just launched mine, but Hagen 2 cent, like I said, avid supporters. They have a hell of a channel, wonderful people, and they're teachers too. And I got a soft spot for teachers. So, all right, rant over. Let's go ahead and address the live chat. So Ryan was saying that you can appreciate his frustration though, and yeah, I feel that too. He's trying to save jobs. Now, I'm sure he's just looking out for his constituents, which I'm pretty sure the casinos and all that. But he's trying to save jobs. He's trying to take care of the state and all that. I'm sure he's just trying to do his job. I don't think he's a good guy because he is a politician. Let's be straight up about that. I do not think politicians are good guys as a whole. Say what you want about that. I don't like politicians. It is what it is. But yeah, it's a tough time, and pop-up fishing, he's in the same boat. If he opens up, people get sick, and he's screwed. If he shuts down because of higher numbers, he's also screwed there, too. Don't envy the guy. Yeah, there's no good way to go about it. It's either people are losing their jobs or people are losing their lives. If you lose your livelihood and people pass away because of that, that's not okay. If you open it up and people are getting sick and losing their lives, that's not okay either. There's no good way to do this, I'll admit. So trying to walk that tightrope, I don't feel good for him. I don't feel bad for him. He's a governor. It is what it is. He's a politician. This is his choice. But yeah, it's gonna be rough here. So, all right. Next question from Sin City Nerds. That's Nick in the chat. Do you think Vegas will ever be the same? That's a good question there. Will Vegas ever be the same? No. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Vegas is never the same. Vegas has never been the same. Vegas in the 90s was radically different from the Vegas of today. Vegas of 2010 is different from the Vegas of the 80s. Vegas of the 1940s is radically different from today. Vegas is not a stable thing. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be pretty girls or pretty boys or whatever, that sort of thing out there, whether you're into men or women. There's always going to be gambling. There's always going to be money, the allure of, steak dinners or whatever. But Vegas is not a monolith. It isn't. It's not supposed to stay the same. The way I see Vegas is it's a reflection of consumer culture in the United States of America. And yes, obviously we have a lot of influence. We have a lot of Canadian visitors. In fact, one of the most influential guys in Vegas, Richard Wilk, for example, great influential guy there. he's Canadian, and so obviously there are international influences, there are Asian influences too, but it's still a reflection of American consumer culture. So before it was the mob was all about it. And then it became like a corporate sort of thing as mega conglomerate corporations became a big thing. Now people are getting into, YouTubing on it. Jacob Orth, Steven, obviously, you got Hagen 2 Cent, you got Sin City Nerds, you got Cinnamon Girl, Vegas Best Ideas. I mean, you got BC Slots, Matt Bridger, Matrix 2021. I can go on and on and on. Vegas is a reflection of here, not necessarily what's going on here. So even if there wasn't a pandemic, Vegas would not be the same, and it would change. It might change slowly, but it was going to change regardless. Eventually, you're going to get the Zoomers. They're going to be older. They're going to be like, hey, you know what? Nightclubs are stupid. Close all the nightclubs. They're just not going to spend money on nightclubs. That's going to be a big thing. So, yeah, no, Vegas is not going to be the same. Vegas is never going to be the same. So that's just how it is. It was never supposed to be like that. I think there's always going to be like an element to it. There's always going to be a nightclub. There's always going to be a pool. There's always going to be gambling. There's going to be old school gambling, that sort of thing there. But it's never going to be the same. And that's how it's supposed to be. Vegas is supposed to change, and it's supposed to be attached to consumer culture, as far as I can tell. That's what it is. Maybe even party culture. Right now, it's more of a party culture thing, but and before it was part of being the good, part of the good life. You get a mink stole, and you go gamble in Vegas. You get the Cadillac. That's what it used to be in like the 40s and 50s, but that's changing too. That changed obviously, and it's going to keep changing. All right, Tim has a good question. At some point, I think the solution becomes more detrimental than the problem. Don't get me wrong, sanitizing, masks in crowded areas, and social distancing are all reasonable, but keep things running. Tim, I gotta admit, it's a good question of a balance there. I don't want to give up my vacation spot. Vegas is my favorite vacation spot. I've got like 2 or 3 more trips planned there. And I'm not too worried about losing my life personally. I'm in pretty good shape. I'm young. I don't have any comorbidities. I have a pretty low probability, according to scientists, of running into a problem because of this. Now, there are people very close to me and my family where this could be a problem. They're elders. They have medical conditions. They have compromised immune systems. On the one hand, I don't want to lose my vacation spot. On the other hand, I'm not willing to trade those people for a vacation spot. So that definitely makes it challenging. And you can say it's a little selfish. I think it is a little selfish because these are people I love and they care about it, that I care about. And, we have lost people even in our little Vegas community. Even in this little Vegas community, I've had a subscriber that unfortunately lost a spouse. I'm not going to go ahead and say who it is out of respect for their privacy, but even in our small community of 5,000 here, we've lost somebody, maybe even more people than I know, or people in this community have probably lost more people and I don't know about it. I've had coworkers and friends and former coworkers. I had one former coworker who was a good friend who's already lost 4 aunts and uncles to this. So no amount of human loss of life, I think, is worth any amount of money. But then that also comes down to money being essential to, life as we know it, at least here in the United States. And it's tricky because that's kind of how the economy is built, and the economy is very, very run parallel to the government. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I'm not going to get into it. Again, I'm not a political science major. I'm not a politician. This isn't something I do on a regular basis. So, take this all for opinion. This is just personal opinion and how I see it, how my experience has been. But it makes a difference. So it's just a question of, how much money and livelihood on the economic side is worth how much health and livelihood on the physical side. So it's a tough balance. It's rough. Let's see. Who is Matt Bridger? Ryan thinks he's funny. Ryan is funny though. Oh, and Kino Kid coming through. Good deal. Glad you made it in, bro. Only seeing the chat. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let me embarrass Kino real quick though, because I gotta tell you, mad shout outs to my man over here, Kino Kid. happy birthday to you, man. I have a lovely picture of us over here. This was us at Bar Canada. I haven't even put out a vlog on this yet, but yeah, because Kino actually came through, because I think he knew I was coming in July and all that, and Houston was coming and all that, so he had already gone to see Hagen 2 Cent, and he was like, you know what, screw it, we're going to take a Vegas visit, we're going to go see our friends out there, and he just, like, he drove the 4 hours straight away, him and his wife, after work to come see us, and it was like, bro, just came straight through during the group pool, and so happy birthday, Kino. Guys, don't forget, I put his link in the description box below. Let's get him to at least 100 subscribers, if not 1,000 subscribers, if you can. Let's get him up there, get him posting some content, maybe doing some vlogging and all that. He's going to become one of us. That's going to happen. So, all right, happy birthday to my boy, Kino Kid. What's up? What's up? Good stuff. Yeah, this is... Oh, so Brady, we were just talking about the governor's speech, and we were kind of analyzing it kind of piece by piece there. It's been tricky, you know? Now, oops, and I knocked over my mic. I apologize, guys. See, there you go. Mo's got a problem. Doctor passed away from COVID-19, and that is horrible to lose anyone, especially a medical professional, someone who's devoted their life to making everyone's life better and healing instead of harming, Hippocratic Oath and all that, solemnly swear to do no harm, that sort of thing. That's tragic. And, there's nothing, there's no good side of this thing. So I don't envy the governor. I don't envy the governor at all. I don't feel bad for him. This is the sort of stuff that he signed up for. Something catastrophic is something that he should be prepared for. Maybe nothing specific, but it's just something that happens, Okay, what other questions do we have in the live chat? I got another 12 minutes before dinner gets here, and got to go catch up with the boss lady there before I got to go catch up with Wonder Woman. So, let's see. Yeah, Tim's got a good point. Get it? No one wants to trade lives, and loss is tragic. Heart goes out to those people. Also see the suffering that comes from job loss, mental illness, and abuse. 100% correct. It's not just the sickness. Some people are now trapped at home with somebody that's abusive. That's the fact of the matter. It can be a wife, can be a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, parent, child. In some cases, elder abuse is a thing, just for the record. There are a lot of bad things that are happening as a result of this pandemic, and, hearts going out to them for sure, too. There's no good answer for this. I don't think there's a good answer, and me as a goofball with a webcam and a microphone, I don't have a good answer. I'm definitely not the expert on this, and I'm not going to pretend to be. I will criticize the hell of it a politician, no worries, and I will drink a beer and criticize a politician, but yeah, it's rough either way. All right, let's see. Out of the 100 breweries in town, why Steel Reserve? Oh man, no, it's I don't know, it's just always been there. I don't know, I like Steel Reserve. I like that multi taste. It's just one of those things. We'll talk about it in Black Hawk though. We got to get up to Black Hawk and check out this new El Dorado, because Isle and Lady Luck are now officially El Dorado, so that'd be dope. All right, Sunset Nerds, another good question. Do you feel like you took life/Vegas for granted before this happened? Oh, yeah. To be perfectly frank, yeah. I think I'm privileged to live in a country like this. I'll say America isn't perfect. I'd say that we are behind in a lot of regards, especially kind of civil rights and social justice, that sort of thing. We're a little behind. There are definitely places a hell of a lot worse. There are places that are better too. So I think there are a lot of improvements. But all things considered, it's a good place to live. I'd say I haven't faced any terrible adversity personally. And that means a lot to me, especially as a gentleman of African American descent or Black descent, whatever you want to call it. It just depends on where you're from and who you are. I'd say I'm doing pretty good, and this is definitely still been kind of a challenge. I mean, I've never had a point where I haven't had a roof over my head, where I haven't had 3 square meals a day and a warm bed, where I haven't had money coming in, where I haven't had loving parents, that sort of thing, and I can only imagine the challenges that others are facing here, even given the challenges that I'm facing now in my home and my family, even though I have been working through this whole thing. So I can only imagine. It's been tough. It really has been tough, and I've always been excited for Vegas visits, but, I've always been very frivolous about when I've booked them. I've been like, hey, you know what? I've got a ton of extra time off over here. Let's just go ahead and do a quick roundabout. Let's just go ahead and go for a weekend or whatever. And I don't think I can ever afford to, take that for granted again. Especially since I've usually gotten it at instead of at a premium, I've got a lot of my deals in Vegas at one hell of a discount, And I've had some pretty good times in Vegas, lived a pretty good life in Vegas when I've been there. So, thinking about that, yeah, I definitely cannot say, I'm definitely very grateful. That's going to be a big thing. I'm very grateful about it. Daniel's got a good question. What are your thoughts on rioting and protests going on in the country? I try not to get too political. I think the protesting is good. I think the rioting is definitely killing a good message there. I think there are definitely some good people on both sides. If we're talking about what I think you're talking about, I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that are close to me that have been in law enforcement, and I have a lot of people that I love about, that I do love that have had some terrible times with law enforcement. I've had people that have lost parents to law enforcement because things were mishandled. That's a fact. I've had people that have worked in law enforcement, and they've done a lot of good stuff in the community, and they've seen a lot of bad stuff done. I'd say objectively, there's a lot to do in this country still. America's still a very young nation, and there's still a lot to do, and we should never stop trying to improve and looking at that, criticizing yourself. I think as Americans, we should constantly be criticizing ourselves. This nation was founded on criticism. We criticized the British government. They didn't like that, and now here we are. We're on our own. It's been patched up, and obviously many generations later, we can have proper trade and all that. It's good stuff. It's a good thing. But no, I think critical thinking is very important. And I think doing your own research is very important too. So I'm not an advocate of violence, but I do definitely like the right to gather and to protest and to push for change. I think that's a good thing. I'm an advocate of self-defense, personally. I'm a martial artist myself. So, I say I live by the code of the martial arts. You don't fight unless someone else starts, stick to a group, try a peaceful solution. If all else fails and it's time to cook butt, it happens. I haven't been pushed into a lot of fights personally. I had a lot more of that happen as a younger man than I have as an adult. I've never been in a fight as an adult. That hasn't been recreational, obviously, like in a tournament setting or in a training setting, thankfully. But yeah, no, it's just tough. I'm trying not to get super, super into that sort of thing. But no, I think it's been, I'm all about protest. I'm not about violence. I'll say that. Yeah, definitely hoping things are settling down soon and we see some improvements, I'll say, on all sides. I'm really hoping for improvements. Owen actually has a very good question over here. If you reopen part of a Vegas hotel, which employees are you going to bring back to work? Which restaurants are going to reopen? If you reopen it completely, it might lose a lot of money. That's a good question, because even if you're allowed to open at 100% capacity, with the restrictions, a lot of people aren't fixing to come to Vegas. If 50% of people aren't coming to Vegas, you're looking at 50% capacity. You're going to be running it at a loss, and that's another difficult thing. It's like, can you bring a lot of people? Can you bring a lot of people back? How many people can you afford to have back? I mean, granted, those casinos make a lot of money, but fact of the matter is they cost a lot of money to run. It costs a lot of money to run a casino during peak season. I think it was during the Piers Morgan documentary. It was the Planet Hollywood was something around $1 million a day. And that was back in 2012. So with inflation and all that, I'm sure it's like $1.5 million a day. And that runs consistent with a lot of numbers I've seen. So it's expensive to run that. And if you're not seeing $1 million a day, it's hard to justify the expense of $100 a day or $1 million a day, what have you, whatever it is. So it's very difficult. I mean, you can lose a lot of money, and if you're not careful about it, you're going to go out of business, then nobody's going to have an option. So it's a question of all or none. Again, it's a balancing act. I don't think I have a good answer for that, and I recognize how difficult that might be. I'm always on the side of the little guy personally, as you guys know. I'm all for, you guys saving a lot of money, taking the casino for as much as it can, if at all physically possible, but, there's a point where that has to give. That's what it is. Let's see. Daniel, when are the bars and lounges going to open on the Strip? Not at least for a week. I think Governor Sisolak is going to be speaking within the next week, or at least making an announcement in the next couple days. He extended the closure in Clark County for at least another week. So, and if he's analyzing it bi-weekly from a Thursday, he'll probably start analyzing it on Thursday, and he'll be discussing it on Friday. He might make an announcement then, or it might be next Friday. So hopefully by then, we'll have a good answer. If the cases trend down, I'm guessing September at the latest, we'll have our bars back. If they're not, we'll see what happens. Oh, Tim, I appreciate that. I try to be balanced. I try to see things I try to look at things from multiple perspectives. I think that's definitely been a big thing. Customer service, for example, I did a lot of that in my youth and even nowadays too. You want to see it from the customer's perspective and you want to see it from the business perspective. That's another interesting thing I learned about business from watching Richard Wilk, for example. Like, he wants to make sure that his guests are having a good time and he wants to advocate for them too. And that's part of a host job. But you also have to look out for the business. Like, you can't give away the house. So there's got to be a balance there. Everybody's human. Everybody, nobody's perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect, aside from my darling wife. She is perfect. No one else is perfect, though. We all make mistakes, and we're all trying to do the best we can. So I'd like to think of it from a balanced perspective, if at all possible. With exceptions being to politicians, they are all criminals and scum. But I don't think anyone's going to argue with me on that one there. So there's that. Ryan, don't you think with shows open 50%, they'd still make a profit? I think they'd probably be at 50. Nah, Ryan, I don't think so, sir. Those shows are expensive and those venues are expensive. A lot of those are tough to put on. Maybe a stand-up comedian, but I know that Terry Fader, he was making something like $16 million a year, even if you're doing like, let's say you have like a 100-seater stadium. And you're getting like $100 a ticket there. At 50, that's only $5,000. You multiply that out by, let's say 5 shows a week, and you multiply that out by another 52. That's about $1.3 million. And if he's making $16 million a year, that's insane. Like, you can't do that. You gotta have. I think it's like a plane. Don't quote me on this. I think it's like a plane, though. You got to have like 80% capacity to break even or make a profit there. There's that. Hey, Sin, what's going on? Sin is also down in the Vegas Strip right now with Keno Kid. They're hanging out. They're probably going to go get some dinner there, hanging out on the Cosmo balcony there. So that's good stuff. Sin, how are things in Vegas? Did you ever find out about Cosmo? Let me know in the comment section. All right, so Waste Not, Want Not. I noticed Mirage isn't accepting reservations until late August, the 27th, I think. I was told by a reservations agent they were originally shooting for mid-July, then August 6th. Yeah, that's what I heard, too. They were taking reservations, then MGM just never gave them the okay. So that's one of them, which is weird because Mirage is one of the flagship properties. You guys know that's my biased personal favorite hotel in the casino. Not the best one in Vegas, just my personal favorite for my own personal reasons. Just how it is. Now, another thing that freaks me out is that Park MGM hasn't opened back up either. Why is that? They just spent $600 million over the last couple of years renovating that place. They were super hyped about that. They've been advertising of that. I mean, that's one of the most expensive rewards is a 2-night stay. I think it's like 150,000 loyalty points on My Vegas Slots, or 135,000 loyalty points on My Vegas Slots for a 2-night stay at Park MGM, which I'd venture to say is worse than Mirage or Mandalay Bay for roughly the same price or even more loyalty points. But it's a personal opinion of mine. So they're super hyped on this and they haven't opened it up. Why? I don't know. I find it a little suspicious, personally. So, Okino hasn't arrived yet. I can see an empty Park MGM from my room. Oh yeah, because Sin's over at Cosmo. Cosmo's so close over there because it's right from It's right next to Aria and Park MGM, just in that kind of center strip area. It's got an outstanding location. Not Mirage perfect, but pretty damn good. Good stuff. Actually, Sin, should I call you on Skype right quick, and then you can give us like a quick tour of what's going on over there? I don't think dinner's here yet. I might have another minute or two. Do you want to give us a quick report of what's happening? I don't know. That's up to you. You can go ahead and do that. You're on vacation though, so I'm not gonna force you to do that. I feel if the show opened, tickets would be like double the price. Wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, honestly, they'd have to double the price just to make the rent, because they do have to rent those facilities. There is a venue fee that's associated with it. They have to pay taxes on it. They have to pay their actors. It's a tough thing. Hey, PJ, glad you made it. We're on the tail end of the stream right now. I'm gonna leave that replay up in case you guys want to talk more about the governor. What other questions we have? I don't think dinner's come yet, so I got a couple more minutes. I did promise Joe I'd be that's Master Swag King. I'd pop by his stream, maybe harass him a little bit, see how that goes. Let's see. Let me go bother him, see if he's on. Oh, actually, James, I think you're in there too. Let's see. Always good to hear from thoughts. You and JR sources of information. No worries, baby. No, it's great. Always great to see you in the chat there. Loving the vlogs. Give Mommy Sita our love, of course. Always good to see you guys, and we're looking forward to hopefully October when you guys can travel again. All right, CompSky, it was good to see you. Thanks for coming through, man. Always appreciate seeing you, man. Just a lot of Vegas. Daniel, when are you heading back to Vegas, Ace? I am actually planning a quick turnaround trip in about 2 months for October. I'm probably going to try and go for the weekend. And then I'm definitely going to go for the Circa opening. That one I have set in stone. The Rocktober trip I have set in shoe polish, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get away with it. Even if it's a one-day turn and burn, I'm going to go for it. So I'm looking forward to that. Friday's drink is an old one. Brandy Alexander. I'm looking forward to that, PJ. Don't forget to go check that out. Yeah, my fan. Yeah. So Kev, we are definitely gonna meet up in March. I like doing my March birthday trips there, and I'll probably have the PTO for it. So we'll go for it. We're gonna make it happen. Logo for the Circa Hotel looks a little old-fashioned. Well, downtown's a little more old school. It's kind of like a throwback sort of thing. I like the vintage Vegas personally. I'm tripping over my words because I'm most of the way through my beer over here, and it's a big burr. So, but no, the vintage look is very popular downtown because that is the old school Vegas, and they know they're the old school Vegas, so they're just kind of banking on that there. So, I think it's going to be a cool thing. I can't wait to go see Circa in a couple of months here. I know, PTO, right? I'm gonna hold on to as much as I can. I can only transfer over like 40 hours from 1 week, so I think by the time I get there, I'll have another 40 hours or whatever. So I'll have a good amount in March. It'll be a good thing. So all right, Spinners and Sharks. Well, I think I'm fixing to go ahead and drop off here for a bit. I'll have time for one more question, then I'll go ahead and end the stream here. So who's got one last question? I'll give it just a minute because I know there's a 10-second delay. All right, take care, Tamara. Good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Don't forget to subscribe to Vegas Best Ideas, by the way, everyone. They have actually they're coming up on 1,000 subscribers. I think we should do a collab sometime. I might go harass them. So, all right. Yeah, it doesn't get the afternoon cookie. Oh, yeah, BJ, it's no big deal. You're good. All right, yeah, it looks like everyone's looking to wind down, too, and I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to go ahead and see about dinner. So, all right, Spinners and Sharks, well, that's all the time we have today. Thanks all for coming through. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget to go ahead and go check out all these other great Vegas vloggers in the chat, too. PJ's Cocktails, Vegas Best Ideas, Muffy's Vlogs, Sin City Nerds, Cinnamon Girl, outstanding stuff there, too. Don't forget to hit up Kino Kid for coming through. And for his birthday. So once again, happy birthday, Kino Kid. And yep, thanks again, everyone. Until next time, this is Ace of Vegas signing out. I'm wishing you all strong hands and of course, happy spending, Garrett. Oh, and Seeking Vegas Sunshine and Coach Mo too. Don't forget about that. We're gonna go ahead and get that dinner going with you guys pretty soon, though. So, all right, Spinners and Sharks. Good night.